Hey y'all, hey, this is Coffee with Friends, and I am raw to the bone. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Oh God, this morning I struggled. The last 2 weeks I've been struggling. Getting up in the morning, maintaining my regular routine, but I've been pushing myself through it. And the hard thing about that is when my back and my neck was out for about a month. I struggled for about a week and a half where I couldn't work out. I couldn't ride my bike because that was just continuing to put pressure on my nerve in my neck, which was affecting my back and my arm and all kinds of things. And so I was down about not being able to ride my bike for about a week and a half. When I got back into it, it was hard. I'm telling you, when you stop your daily routine, it is hard. And so I've been back riding for a week and some change. And this morning I woke up though at 5 o'clock in the morning and I was just up chasing ghosts. And I was like, what the fuck? I can't go back to sleep. Good morning, Ansel. Good morning. Good morning, Georgie. Good morning, my twerker bee. Um, yeah, so I was able to push myself this morning, even though I didn't want to. I almost talked myself out of it. But I said, I got to ride this bike because you know what? I cannot sit comfortably knowing that I did not carve out 30 minutes for myself, 20 minutes to do the bike, 10 minutes to do my yoga stretches. That's all I take. Sometimes I ride the bike for 30 minutes and I still do my yoga stretches, but I always try to carve out at minimum 20 minutes of body movement for myself on my bike in the morning. It helps start my day. It sets the tone of my day. So that's just for encouragement for those out there that might have fell off their routine for whatever reasons, medical reasons, just didn't feel like it or whatever, and it's hard to get back into it. Don't be discouraged, all right? Push yourself small, little bit at a time, okay? Come on in, y'all. Happy Tuesday. What is going on this good Tuesday? Did y'all watch the Democratic convention last night? I watched it for some hours and then I fucking fell asleep before Biden spoke. But I did hear Hillary Clinton speak. And wasn't her bobbing? Wasn't it though? Then I jumped on my TikTok live this morning and I started talking about the Democratic convention. And this one guy was on there so bent on telling me that Kamala ignored the the borders and left the borders open, and how Kamala doesn't do anything for the black people. And this is all the black people that I speak to ever say. I love y'all though. She didn't do nothing for the black people. I'd be like, what the fuck? They the president of the United States, not for the black people, right? And although they can pass bills and laws to make black lives better, I often ask people, good morning, Debbie. I often ask people, and then they get mad because I asked this on my podcast, and then people got mad and jumped out their skin. They keep saying, what has Kamala done for the black people? She ain't did shit, but left the borders open, right? And now we got all these immigration problems. I said two things. I might have said more, but I said, damn, y'all talking about she left the borders open and caused all this immigration problem, right? And then two, y'all say she don't do nothing for the black people. And so I asked this question. I said, what do you do? Ask yourself the question, what do you do for your community? What do you do for your community? That is my question this morning, right? Because so many people have so much to say about the president don't do shit for us, and the president don't do shit for us, and the president don't do shit for us. What do you do for your community? Tell me, how do you pour into your black community? Right? Some of the things that I said on TikTok live is some of you motherfuckers have a one-bedroom apartment and can't manage your family in a one-bedroom apartment, but y'all talk about the president running a whole country, right? Y'all talk about the country is in debt the president can't handle this and the president can't handle that. Good morning, Brandilla. But I ask, what do you do for your community and how is your household run? Are you able to manage your own household? Do you have your children in line? Right? Are you taking care of your Black community? That's what I'm asking, right? Because the one thing that I cause, like, I don't know what other cultures say, but I'm gonna tell you no lie. I don't hear other cultures. I don't hear the Jewish people saying, what is the president going to do for the Jewish community? I don't hear the white people saying, what is the president going to do for the white people? I don't hear the Indians saying, what is the president going to do for the Indian people? I only hear, what is the president going to do for the Black people, right? See, the difference is in other cultures, and this is just my opinion, and we all have one, they're like assholes, right? I'm not asking you to agree. But those other communities, you know why you don't hear them rampantly saying we need the president don't do shit for us? Because all those other cultures, they feed back into their community. They support each other, right? They help build their community. You know, I work with a lot of folks from India, and I'm gonna tell you, I have so much respect for the Indian community, okay? Not the American Indians, but, you know, the Asian Indians, the ones that live in India, okay? Because these people on my job, on the weekends, like when we go out as a co-worker group, a lot of the Indian population, they don't hang with us on the weekend because the first thing they say is, I have family time this weekend. On the weekends, I spend time with my family. We have community activities. We have a celebration. They stick together. They do stuff together. They help each other get jobs. They feed each other. When people want to come from India and don't have a place to live, they open up their doors for them to come and stay with them until their paperwork gets right, until everything gets right. These cultures stick together. But all I ever hear from the Black people is, what is the president of the United States going to do for the Black people? But not nary Black person that I ask what you do for your own Black community can ever fucking answer. I was in Harlem Week this past Saturday and it was empty. Now, there were people out there, right? Now, this is a Black community thing, Harlem Week. Years ago, Harlem Week used to be packed. We'd be crowded, shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to shoulder. This year when I went, I was surprised. There was space in the street. There was space everywhere. You didn't feel overwhelmed. And I was like, where are all the people? Where are all the Black people? Right? Streets are shut down. The city is out there. The cops are out there making sure everything is going safe. This is Harlem Week to celebrate Harlem. Where were we? But if it was an Indian culture thing, it would have been shoulder to shoulder. So I'm just saying this. This is just a suggestion, a piece of advice, even though y'all didn't ask it. Before you say, what is the president going to do for the Black people? Ask your fucking selves, what is it I do for the Black community? Because when I ask myself, I'll be like, I don't be doing shit. That's my honest. I do coffee with friends, right? I talk a lot of shit. But do I go out to my community meetings? Do I go to my town halls? Do I write letters to my councilman when I'm unhappy about something in the community? Do I stand up and have a voice as a Black person? Or am I waiting for Kamala to do it or Hillary Clinton to do it or some other magical person to speak for me? What is it? Can y'all list a list of things that you would like the president to help Black people with? I want to know what. You know why, Ansel? Because they help themselves. So you're right. They are happy with everything they get because a lot of them come from a struggle. And so when they have a little bit more than they had, they appreciate it. All right. And then the rest they get and they build together. Right. But in the Black community, and I'm not saying everybody in the Black community fits the bill that I'm talking about, but in the Black community, we be the ones to throw our kids out at 18 years old. We be the ones to support some raggedy ass shit, right? What do we do for our own Black community, right? What do we do? What do we do? Good morning, Cheryl Lee. I picked up trash once 4 years ago on a volunteer day. And there's no, Georgie, I volunteered many, many years ago too. This is what I'm saying. I don't do it on a regular basis. So, I kick myself on a regular basis because I'm like, Robin, like, yo, you can't expect somebody to come in and help the Black community when you're not showing up for the community. How dare I? Georgie said, I can't say it was for the Black community though, because I lived in the Vietnamese community. Okay. I was in South Dakota for 3 years and they make $1 out of 15 cents. Deb said, we as African Americans most certainly need to do better because it's up to us. If we collectively got together and formed successful boycotts like back in the day, I bet better laws would be in place. But no, we boycott for a day and then we'll forget about what the fuck we were boycotting about. And then we'll complain that the president isn't doing anything for the Black folks. So I ask, and I asked this on TikTok and still have not gotten an answer. What is it y'all want the president to do for the Black people? I need answers. Right, Ansel. And that's the point that I'm making. They support each other before anything else, but we don't. We don't. We don't. We don't. And we can see we don't support each other because I guarantee you, you're not going to hear the Indian population complaining about Kamala. And maybe they will, and I'll be wrong, but I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen any Indians with the dots on their head get on and publicly bash Kamala for running for president. But baby, a lot of the Black people are on social media arguing, even if she isn't the best for the job, even if she isn't the best, is Trump really better? Right? When you think about it as a woman, and I know I'm ranting this morning, but as a woman, how could you comfortably vote for a man that had his hand in overturning women's rights, Roe v. Wade? How could you vote for a man that is stripping your civil liberties? And then you say, oh, because Kamala didn't do anything for 3 years, fuck her, but you saw what Trump did, right? You can't say, the only thing y'all can say about Kamala is she ain't did shit. She was quiet as vice president, which most vice presidents are, because what did fucking VP Pence, whatever the fuck his name was under Trump, do? Nothing. Good morning, I am DeCinta. He did nothing, right? But they blaming her for the border walls, right? And blaming her for being quiet and not doing anything for the Black community, right? But y'all seen what Trump did. Y'all see what power he has and how he's positioned the Supreme Court, right? Y'all have seen. So it baffles me how women, especially women, can say, I don't want to vote for Kamala because she ain't do shit for us. So you're going to vote for a man that is okay with taking your civil liberties away? We're still fighting for equality. Right? Think about it. We've been fighting since the beginning of times for equality. Okay? We didn't get equality when slavery stopped. We did not. We're still fighting for equality in so many areas. And yet y'all want to take how many steps back to vote for Trump because y'all feel like Kamala ain't say shit for 3 years? But y'all already know me. I'll vote for Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Chucky, the Sausage Party before I vote for Trump. But I'll be damned if a woman, me as a woman, is going to even blink an eye and think about voting for Trump. Especially when you know he supports Project 2025. It's like, I cannot say this enough. It's like we are so fucked up mentally that sometimes we choose our own demise. And then we scream and we holler. They don't do nothing for the black person. So you're screaming at a black woman and saying she don't do nothing for the black population. So you're going to vote for a white man that you know, I can't say he's racist, but you know he's prejudiced and biased against anybody who's not in the 1%, right? And you know that he's prejudiced and biased about women's rights. This is also the man that was okay with Putin having Kyiv. Like, I don't really understand what the fuck people like about Trump. I don't. Besides, it's comic. Okay? It's like comic relief. And a population of people ripped Biden a new asshole when he was pausing his speech, but yet Trump paused for 21 seconds recently during one of his rally speeches. And the other day, he walked outside of the building waving, but there was nobody out there. So who the fuck was he waving at? But yet, had that been Biden, y'all would have ripped his ass apart. It's like we are damaged mentally. And it's like we support our oppressors. Does that make sense? Like, that's how I see it. I'm like, when black people be like, I'm gonna vote for Trump, I be like, so you support your oppressors? You would support a white man that wants to oppress the people over a black woman only because she ain't said shit in 3 years and she didn't control the borderlines. I don't know. Meanwhile, if you're paying attention to the rallies, right? Listen to Kamala and listen to Trump. What the fuck? Like, y'all really voting for somebody who does not stay on political topics, who cannot debate educationally with anybody else. And they know that they're not intelligent enough to debate. That's why they stop and they start with the rhetoric of putting down other people in politics by saying they ugly. What the fuck politician gets up there in the rally and talks about, I look better than my component? What the fuck does that mean? But yet there's a population of people that's going to vote for him. See, I be scared. I just be scared. I don't understand. So there's my fucking rant. Okay? Because people be like, oh my God, all over my TikTok this morning. Oh, Kamala ain't do shit. You seen what Trump did? You okay with that? Because he gave you $1,200? And the funny shit is, they didn't give you the stimulus for yourself. They gave the stimulus to promote economic stimulation. They wanted you to take the $1,200, which a lot of black motherfuckers did because I saw them on the fucking Gucci line in DC. Okay? Got the stimulus and they put the money back into the economy. That's what it was for, because spending had stopped. There was no stimulation in the economy. The pandemic has shut us down. And so when they gave y'all a little $1,200, a little $1,500, that was to tell y'all to take y'all asses outside and spend some money to move the economy around. They didn't do it for y'all. Brandilla said, we have a different history than other cultures. Ours was systematically broken down. Our sense of community is severely fractured. True, Brandilla, but how long are we going to blame it on that? How long? It's almost like a grown-ass man saying, oh, my mama abused me, and so this is the way I am. At some point in your life, you become an adult and you take responsibility for your actions. We cannot continue to say, we have been systematically broken down. We have been this, we have been that, although it's true. But what are we going to do? We have the ability to be educated. We have the ability to open up businesses. We have the ability to do things, okay? So if we continue to feed our minds and say we are systematically broke down, we will stay systematically broke down. But we are responsible to make a change in that area. So what is it? What are some of the things you are doing to put back the pieces in the Black community that was broken? Because we cannot keep living off the same narrative as we're severely fractured. We got to get it together. How do we do that? Good morning, Pat. Cheryl Lee said Black Americans were brought to the U.S. involuntarily and had dehumanizing conditions that disrupted family structure. True, Cheryl Lee, but I don't mean to bust anybody's bubble or bring up a known fact, but there was slavery in Africa. Black people owned slaves too. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that, right? We constantly say Black people were brought to the U.S., we were enslaved, we were this, we were that. But there were slaves long before Black people were brought to the United States or of America, right? There were already Blacks owning Black slaves. Debbie said it would be nice to see the George Floyd Act signed that gave us better protection from the police brutality. That's one for starters. Okay, thank you, Debbie, because when I ask, I need people to be specific as to what they want to change. I want to see Roe v. Wade brought back. Now, that's just not for Black women. That's for women in general. But I would love to see Roe v. Wade brought back into action, okay? I would also like to see the George Floyd Act passed. I would like to see a criminal act bill passed for the Black community, the Black culture, the same way that they passed an Asian act. I would like to see that. Okay. I would like to see more expansion on free education and free health care. I would. Okay, because the middle class is suffering out here. All right. And that's just not for Blacks. So that's why I be like, it'd be tricky. What is it you specifically want for the Black people? Right, I am Jacinta. If for nothing else, good morning, Hillbilly. If for nothing else, women's rights. Like, what the fuck are we thinking? Brandilla says slavery and colonization led to the forced dispersal of African people across different regions, cultures, and languages. The separation from homeland and family combined with the stripping away of cultural identities resulted in the fragmentation of collective Black identity. This legacy persists in modern times, making unity more challenging. I agree with all of that, right? But what are we going to do about it? We want a president to fix that? That's what we're asking. We're asking a president to undo slavery and colonization, the effects that it had on us. We got to do that. Okay, we got to do that. Oh, I'm Jacinta. Right. How the white people rushed the Capitol building. Right. Deb said it would be nice if they acknowledged the huge disparities that still exist in the workplace for African Americans. At the presidential level, Debbie, how would you like to see that acknowledged? Because I have heard them say it a million times that they know that women in general in the workplace there's still not equality there with wages and position, right? So we do hear them talking about it, but what is it you want at the presidential level to do about that? We skipped the councilman, the mayor, the Senate, the representative of your state. We skipped all of them. What do we want the president to do about the workplace? Brandilla says centuries of oppression combined with European beauty standards and societal structures have led to internalized racism within Black communities. Internalized prejudice. We can't be racist as Black people because we don't have the construct or the power to make any changes and to impact any other culture. So we are prejudiced. We have colorism issues. I agree with that. Okay, I definitely agree with that. But again, right? When we say centuries of oppression, how many Black people you see now stepping back into their Blackness, wearing their natural hair, wearing their cultured clothing, stepping into their culture and accepting who they are. and moving away from the European beauty standards. So women are doing that. I go to work just to fuck like this. What? Right? And so I don't know. All I saw was white. And so I don't know. I'm sure there was some black folks out there, but I ain't see that many. We were definitely the minority. Sharon Lee said, what we have gone through as Black Americans has lasting effects on social unity and economic stability in our community. We don't see them destroy their communities like they did ours. What are we doing about it? That's what I'm asking. All of these things are true. It's nice to hear. But what are we doing about it as a people? Right? Brandilla said, throughout history, external forces, including governments and institutions, have employed tactics to divide Black communities. Because they can, because we allow them to divide us, right? I feel like we are not the same Black people that came over here during slavery. We are educated, okay? We have some sense of power, okay? We have some sense of self. And so I do feel like instead of leaning on history, right? It's the same. I feel like it's the same thing of a grown man blaming his mama for how he act. At some point, we got to step out of history and do something to rebuild our community. And that starts at home. If we can't even get our family structures right, how the fuck we gonna get our whole community right? How the fuck? I remember when my son was going in and out of jail and it was cop issues or getting, he only went to jail twice, but having the cops involved many, many times in some bullshit. And I remember, and this was a reminder when I went to Donovan's barbecue a couple of weeks ago, and Damara's father walked over and said, and was talking to me. And I said, oh, you remember Alvin? And he was like, that's Alvin? Because he hadn't seen Alvin in years. Now, my son, like I said, drove me crazy. This man had tears in his eyes. And you know what he said to my son? He said, let me tell you something. You got a good ass mother. He said, you are the son that drove her crazy like you did. He said to my son, he said, I've been here plenty of days and nights when your mother fought everybody in this house because everybody would be like, leave it alone, wash your hands with it. And she stood and said she was going to fight. She was not going to let her family be destroyed. And I didn't. I fought even when people left my side because they thought I was stupid for trying to manage my son, trying to navigate his life to turn course. They wanted me to throw him out. They wanted me to forget about him. And I was like, hell the fuck no. I'm going to fight for this shit. Because we come from, like y'all said, years of oppression, years of a lot of heartbreak. Okay? I'm a single mom trying to raise a boy who's probably angry that his dad was a crackhead and he probably had abandonment issues, which played out in his life in many different forms. Right? But if I would have listened to my Black friends and some of my Black family members, I would have abandoned my child. Right? I feel like in our community, we are so quick to abandon our family members when shit is happening. We don't have the stay with all to stay together. How do we change that? We got to start in our own homes, in our own families. I know, Debbie, like it's brainwashed. Exactly, Deb. He's not a politician. He is a damn puppet. People are passing money through his hands, and really and truly at this point, I feel like Trump only wants to be president to avoid those criminal charges, right? This is why he positioned the Supreme Court like he positioned it. And this is why they passed that bill that says presidents are immune to criminal charges or whatever. This is why. And y'all falling for it. Some of y'all. Right, Ansel. How long did $1,200 last and where was it spent? Baby. I don't know. I never got none. Good morning, Val. Shirley said, these other cultures can come here as able to build and protect their economic social communities without same targeted violence and systematic oppression, not to mention all of the reparations. You know why they get reparations? Them Jewish people never shut the fuck up. They didn't. They were loud consistently. Not every now and again. They didn't boycott once a year. They were loud constantly. They got reparations. Different type of slavery. I'm sure it was different, but slavery nonetheless, right? We have to stop being our worst enemy. Our problem is that we are not organized. Brandilla said there has been slavery all over the world. We are referencing the systems put in place to continually oppress our people in the U.S. Right, Valerie? Hate crime act law. That's what I want to see passed. Debbie says, same way emphasis is being placed on tips for workers that are being paid minimum wage. I get that Gavin Newsom raised minimum wage for Californians. Why can't that be on a national level? Didn't we raise minimum wage to $15? Hillbilly said, I think you need your voice first. Form a black political party or vote for a Black Panther party that already exists. You can claim it's bad for such and such party, but you can't deny it helps the blacks. Ansel said, what did our ancestors fight for? Ooh. Ansel has a question. How far back we going with ancestors? How far back are we going with ancestors? Brandon said there is movement of people who are woke, but there are still many who don't know better to do better. Some are still in an oppressed state of mind. This is why Kanye said we choose slavery and people got mad. Brandilla also said that's a problem in our community. We normalize and support broken families. This baby mama and baby daddy culture. Other cultures don't allow nor condone it. They create and raise families. Pat said our forefathers would be so ashamed of us for our behavior. Young men killing each other, black women bashing, and the income we have is just consumed and not uplifting us. Baby. Cheryl said people have to understand these differences in order to understand what we are up against in the black community and its ongoing legacy. We are still operating out of fear. Now that I agree with. That I agree with Cheryl Lee. We are operating out of fear. And what have we been reading for the past several days from August, which is the month of faith? It says we need to operate even when we are fearful. That's one of the things that I say when Obama was in presidency, right? I felt like he navigated very polite. You see how Trump go in there and the House, the Senate, and the representatives be like, fuck no, Trump. And he be like, fuck y'all. I'm going to do the shit any the fuck way. Come for me if you can. See, he not polite. See, I agree with that, Cheryl. We operate out of fear. If Obama would have went in there and said, fuck y'all, I'm going to do this anyway. Take me the fuck down. I'm going to fucking do it. The same way Trump do it, things might have been different. But I agree. We operate out of fear. I agree with that too, Hillbilly. I bet it didn't. I bet it didn't because we're reading books that people fucking wrote. We wasn't there. Right? But let me get into the positive read for today because August is the month of faith. And today is simply about, I don't know. Right? So when I ask the question, what do you do for your black community? Do you do anything for your black community or what needs to be done? It's okay to say, I don't the fuck know. I don't know where to start. Right? Because I know I don't know where to start to help the black community. I don't. I'm struggling to keep my own household together. I don't know where to start. It's okay to say, I don't know. Right? And hopefully you surround yourself with other people who have same similar goals, and maybe they have a little bit of information and y'all feed off each other. And that's how we learn from each other. So today we're talking about I am faith-filled and fear-free because I know that I don't have to know. Most people will do everything in their power to avoid admitting I don't know. When you do admit I don't know, some people respond as if you are crazy. Admoningly, they want to know, what do you mean you don't know? Contrary to popular belief, when you don't know and can't admit it, you are in line for a great healing or a magnificent blessing. Few know-it-alls are blessed with new insights or information. When you are willing to acknowledge that you don't know, you open yourself to all sorts of information and assistance from life. Not knowing may send you on a search. It may open your mind and your eyes to things you have or even thought of before. The things you discover in your search may bless you at some later date, or the search may heal some long-held fear. What a blessing. An admission of not knowing is a sign of great faith and trust. It means trusting that even when you don't know, you know that when you need to know, you will know. An admission of not knowing is an act of great humility that leads to the healing of the ego. It is the ego that fosters an internal sense of inadequacy. When you feel or believe you are in some way inadequate, it will always feel as if you have something to prove. Admitting that you don't know is a very loving way to acknowledge that you are absolutely fine with who you are and that you are not afraid to admit it. Until today, you may have believed that it is your duty and responsibility to know everything. Just for today, be open and willing to admit what you don't know. Open yourself to receive new information from expected and unexpected resources or sources. Today, I am devoted to acknowledging what I don't know, finding new paths of discovery and incorporating them. Incorporating new information into my data bank. How about that? Thank you, Valerie. Go ahead and do that. I know that's right. I know that is right. So when I ask the question, what is it you do to your for your community? I don't know. We got to pull from our resources. We got to figure out how we can do better. Right? It's okay not to know, but what are we doing about not knowing? Valerie said, but it burns me up that they still mock and market us. This is why we'll never get reparations. They are still profiting off of us. We are the force of everything. Bring flavor to commercials. Yeah. Cheryl said, throw away both parts. Yes, Hillbilly, because Hillbilly's like, fuck them. Go with the Black Panthers. Fuck everybody. I know that's right. Valerie said they used to sell their products. We are marketed to the masses. They still need us, so we ain't getting no reparations. If life has been status quo, it's because the evil parties have run the show. Vote for status quo, get status quo. Valerie said, I'm rolling a joint. I know that's right. Ansel said, if music is a reflection of the modern time, how has it changed in each generation? 1950s to 2020s. Ain't that long ago. What do you think the music changing? Where you going with that, Ansel? That's interesting. Where you going with that? I have a video to play for y'all. You know, another video. Debbie, I meant to send it to you and Fancy yesterday when I stumbled across it, but I was so busy changing my plant. I had this big ass plant. I had to change it from one pot to a floor pot because these plants are just outgrowing my damn apartment. Okay, they really, really are. They really, really are. I empower. I like that. So yeah, I have a video that I want to play for y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to the demo page, the demo screen, which is this screen. Okay, and I'm gonna play this video. I want y'all to listen to this video, ladies. Listen to this video, men. Listen to the video. Give your opinion. It's something to think about. All right. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Let me see. Oh. Oh, wait. Why do I always do that?
See my future clearly because I was so blind about first man to fool me, but he wasn't the last. I could never see my future clearly because I was so blind about my past. Every time I liked a nigga, he just remind me of my dad. And although the shit was toxic, I still yearn for what I never had. So I would ignore the red flags and I would make excuses for their flaws. I would listen to why they were so fucked up and I would find sympathy for it all. And although they never found sorrow for me, I still let down my walls. Pillow talking with a demon while I let them creep into my drawers. It comes from being fatherless, no real guidance, no real love. You never understand how important it is for a daughter to get them hugs until you grow up and you get your heart broke by a nigga that you like. It all starts to make sense why they use training wheels on a bike at that very fucking moment is when you start to understand why it's so important for a daughter to have a good dad.
I'm gonna let it play again.
My father was the first man to fool me, but he wasn't the last. I could never see my future clearly because I was so blind about my past. Every time I liked a nigga, he just remind me of my dad. And although the shit was toxic, I still yearn for what I never had. So I would ignore the red flags and I would make excuses for their flaws. I would listen to why they were so fucked up and I would find sympathy for it all. And although they never found sorrow for me, I still let down my walls. Pillow talking with a demon while I let them creep into my drawers. It comes from being fatherless, no real guidance, no real love. You never understand how important it is for a daughter to get them hugs until you grow up and you get your heart broke by a nigga that you like. It all starts to make sense why they use training wheels on a bike at that very fucking moment is when you start to understand why it's so important for a daughter to have a good dad. My father was the first man to fool me, but he was.
What do y'all think? She said my father was the first man to fool me. And that played out in her decisions for the men that she chose in her life. Even though her father disappointed her and let her down, she ran into relationships yearning that same type of relationship. And a lot of us do that, right? How we are raised in our homes, what we experience, what we see, right? And we talk about the Black community. In the first place, we need to start is at home. So this poem really hit home for me because we always ask, why are relationships failing these days, right? Because a lot of us are operating out of past trauma, operating out of things that we normalize growing up, and we choose relationships ignoring red flags because we are so comfortable with those red flags because we were raised under the demise of those red flags, okay? And so this is where our own internal healing has to start, unfortunately, right? She said it's so important for a little girl to have a dad, those hugs, those kisses, that encouragement, to have that so that she can grow into the person to yearn for the healthy things a relationship should provide. And I listened to this poem and I saw myself in this poem, right? And I looked across my relationships and I said, you know, my baby daddy, you know, it's so crazy. But my son looked like his father and my dad because for whatever reason, and I didn't realize it until I was much older, that I chose a man that reminded me of my dad, right? And it wasn't healthy. He wasn't a bad man, but it wasn't the type of man I should have been yearning for, right? rest in peace, because my son's father has passed on, right? And as I navigated through the rest of my life in survival, I still was choosing men based on what I've seen, based on what I've experienced, never tapping into the healthy way a relationship should be, because I didn't know what it was, right? I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was. And that's why I've mentioned on my show before, everybody is a mom and dad when they have kids. You're automatically a mom and a dad, right? Whether you're in the kid's life or not, you are a mother, you are a father. But there's a very different thing from being a parent, right? And so as adults, we have to tap into our childhood sometime and figure out why we are navigating the way we are navigating and break the fucking cycle in our own community, in our own households. How do we do that? Cheryl said we need initiative to promote economic empowerment, social equality, policies that will address the injustices from the past and current disparities. That's a good one, Cheryl. Right, Brandilla? Us. I didn't get she was being molested. I didn't get that. Anybody else got that? I just got that her father was absent. He wasn't there. He didn't show her the love. She didn't have anything to compare good, healthy love with a man. Brandilla said, I saw him randomly as a kid, no set schedule. He felt more like a fun relative than a dad. Me too. I saw my dad in summers, you know, only because my mama. Thank God for my mama, because I don't think he'd have ever came and got me. My mama was on the bus and the train. She made sure he saw me. The fuck? Hillbilly said having both parents isn't required, but it does give advantages, but no parents are worse, and a bad parent sucks the most. I agree with that. We said good, healthy parents, Hillbilly, because some people come from a two-parent household and it's shitty and raggedy. So you right. Debbie said, I lost my dad when I was 12, but he left when I was 5. Now I haven't had many relationships at all, but at 42, if I got into a jacked up relationship, I don't think that would have anything to do with it. Okay? Not at this big old age, right, Debbie? Because at some point we got to accept the things that we need to work through, right? We have to teach ourselves. What are we doing about that? So I thought that was a good video to bring here, because, so many people are like, relationships don't last. Why? Because we ignoring the red flags. We're navigating out of shit that's unhealthy. We got to do better, right? And that catches fire across the whole Black community, in my opinion. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know, all the things that can help the Black community. Some of the points that was made today on the show was great points, and I agree with all of them. But it's not just a simple answer, right? But with that, y'all, this was Coffee with Friends. We done went through the positive read for the day. I went on my rant about politics and the Black community. And I just say, guys, we got to do better. And we have to start in our homes. We have to start with our close friends. We need to start in our relationships. We have to move more healthy. We have to move as a unit. We have to start practicing that. Exactly, Shirley. That's how I took it. She wasn't molested. She was raised mainly by women, but didn't have a good example of a man in her life. And a lot of people have that. Valerie said, my dad would come around and give me money. Come see me. And my mom would be mad, but she let him spend time with me. That's beautiful. Debbie said that was an excellent video. What she said was powerful. Once you know better, we have to do better. The message. Once we know better, we must do better. The message. My dad taught me how to drive with one knee, and a pinky finger. Well, some of us attract. Some people, Brandilla, I swear I was attracting a bunch of motherfuckers that needed fixing, and I had to figure out, why am I attracting that, right? And I think that it was what I exuded. I exuded this caretaker, you know, control thing. And I think some men like that. Some men felt like, you know what, I know she's gonna hold the shit down, irregardless to what I'm doing, because that's the kind of person she is. But now I hold back. Now I hold back, even when I want to do stuff, or even when I want to take over, have a caretaker take over experience. I try not to do that in my courting experiences. I try to let the man take over. I try to let him lead. Sometimes I'm frustrated because I'm like, I would lead this way, or I would do this way, but I still try to hold back and see how much leadership this man has. I stopped accepting the darkness, Brandilla. I did. I had to. Right? And some men might get bitter, and some men might say to me, oh my God, you don't want to dust me off, or you don't want to go through the hard times with me. Not at 57. No. Like, there's hard times and then there's hard times. Like, I don't want, a little bit of dust where I could, that's okay. But if you real fucking dusty, not at my age. Right? So I had to look at what I was putting out and what I was opening my doors to. Okay, now I close them shits. Even when I'm kind of attracted to the person, or the person is interesting to me, I go back to things that, all of the things that I want to accomplish. I think about how many more years I got to retirement, where I want to live when I retire, where I want to be financially. And at that point, if I meet somebody with all this darkness, it's just gonna pull me down. And so some people, I just gotta be like, I don't mean no harm, but no. So Brandilla, work on that. We don't want the darkness. The fuck? Some struggle with your man is okay, but we don't need complete darkness. I need a man, if he's in some trouble and he's struggling, I need to see him working. I need to see his feet to the grind. I need to see him doing something to change his situation. Even if I come second to that. Because I'm going to need my man to know how to hold things up. Exactly, Valerie. Exactly. 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 So it's just food for thought. Listening to her poem was definitely food for thought. But guys, I'm going to move towards closing my show. But you know what I say? Always move with peace and love. I did say by the end of this month the beginning of September, I will start aggressively publishing the house in Texas with the names and everything on there for who's going. I should be booking my ticket for Houston pretty soon. I got to pick my days and then get them over to Debbie so she know when I'm coming. Debbie, I think for real I'm gonna need keys this time to the house, because I don't have nut. And I know you working shit. And not that I'm going anywhere, but just in case, somebody swing by and pick me up, I need to be able to lock the door. So let's think about that. Or I don't know. Something to think about. I'm trying, Val. The fuck? I'm trying. But y'all, we're going to move on. Tomorrow is another day. We are still in August, although at the end of August, y'all. We only got a couple of months. Cheryl Lee came on here with 36 more days to fall. So I guess it's 35 now. The fuck? I didn't do shit this summer. Okay? I didn't even go swimming. I didn't put one bathing suit on. Okay? Not one. Not fucking one. Okay? So anyway, I gotta go. But move with love. And I'm going to send y'all out with this positive message, because you know what I say. Even when you feel
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And I don't. I'm fucking hard-headed. This is Coffee with Friends, and I am Roy to the bone. Come back tomorrow, y'all. All right? And remember, the Black community is us. Hustle hard.
I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave.
Huh?
To the system, I don't wanna be a slave.
I've been doing shit my way.
With the highway, and in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite.
Huh?
You never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't come.
What?
Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain. Anything you
Oh, wait. Did we miss Cheryl's birthday? Wait a minute. It's tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Hold on. When is Cheryl's birthday? Cheryl Lee, when is your birthday? Oh, it's Thursday. Oh, all